All right,
So we agree.
We
Okay.
agree.
Offensive MVP. I don't think we're going to agree on this. I'll go first.
Mm-hmm.
The quarterback, Purdy. I give him. Let's since I don't think you're going to agree. Let's do our reasons a little later. First, you tell
Sure.
who you think yours is.
Christian McCaffrey.
Okay.
Yeah.
Boy, I could make a case for McCaffrey. May I make my case for the quarterback first?
Please do.
Okay. Um, First of all, I think quarterback is a more important position than running back.
No question.
No question.
No question.
This kid, first we didn't know who he was. Then we thought, oh, maybe he's a stopgap. And then we thought he's a game manager, which is always a put down, a game manager.
Mm-hmm.
He's not a game manager. He's a game winner. This
Mm-hmm.
kid is a winner.
Mm-hmm.
He may not have certain physical gifts, but he has a lot of physical gifts. And in the short and medium range, his passes are on the money. I mean, so I would also say this: if they didn't have him, they would not be 5-0.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what they would be, but if they had Jimmy, let's say,
Mm-hmm.
they would have
Or
lost
Sam
some
Darnold.
games.
Or Trey
Or Sam
Lance.
Darnold, or Trey Lance.
Yeah.
There would have been picks. There would have been chaos. This kid is so brilliant. He's a football savant. So
He
I'm
is.
saying they're not 5-0 without him. He's an underrated quarterback. He might even be one of the 10 best quarterbacks in the league right now. And I don't think they'd be anywhere near where they are without him. So that's my case for Brock Purdy.
You made a really good case, Dad. It's going to be tough for me to counter it. Let me do my best.
Okay.
Brock Purdy's playing great. When teams prepare to stop the Niners, I believe the defensive coordinator tells his guys, we are not going to let Christian McCaffrey beat us this week. Whether or not they can stop him is what, but that's what the Cowboys said last week. We are going to swarm Christian. They said it on the record. We're going to swarm McCaffrey. We're not going to let him beat us. And when you sell out to stop one player, I think it helps everyone else. So it helps Purdy, Ayuk, Debo, all of them. I think that is the number one threat that people are worried about in the offense. And it's like, he's so good. He affects every play, not just the run plays, the pass plays too. He's just checking the ball down to Christian McCaffrey always is a great decision and makes you look really smart. And if you look at it this way too, how many other teams would Christian McCaffrey start for? Most of them.
Yes. Yeah.
How many other teams would Brock Purdy start for? I don't know. He's a great fit for the 49ers, but if you put him on another team with another supporting cast and another system, like the Rams, if the Rams had him, would they start him over Stafford? Maybe. I don't know. If the Seahawks had him, would they start him over Geno? Maybe. I don't know. Or maybe it's just that he's perfect fit for the Niners system. I think Christian McCaffrey fits anything.
I agree. I love what you're saying. I agree with that. Also, if you imagine Purdy on other teams, Seattle or the Rams, would he do as well? Not only would he start over their quarterbacks, would he do as well? And I think you could make a case he would not do as well on those teams because those teams are not as good and frankly are at this point are not as well coached. So
but you said MVP, not the best player. The best player on the Niners offense is Trent Williams.
Yes, MVP. I did.
Yeah.
I think we can reach a compromise conclusion.
Mm-hmm.
The Niners need them both.
I think they need them both. They're a battery.
Yeah. I think they need
they're a combo.
Is that fair?
Yeah, because before they had either one of them, the offense was inconsistent at best. Ever since they've had McCaffrey and Purdy, they pretty much don't lose and score 30-plus points every game. So we don't really know what this team would look like without either one of them. If they had to have Darnold in there, even with McCaffrey, it's dicey. And then if they had to have Jordan Mason in there starting instead of Christian McCaffrey, the offense changes completely. So it's both.
How would it change the offense if it were Mason?
Well, Mason's good, but he's not as fast as McCaffrey. So all those outside runs wouldn't really be there anymore. It'd be much more between the tackles.
Got it.
And then all the different ways you can use McCaffrey as a receiver. You can still throw the ball to Mason, but he can't line up in the slot or play wide receiver. It would just be much more limited what you could do at the running back spot.
Got it.
More of a rotation.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I love this topic, and we had a compromise answer. You need them both.
Okay, bonus topic. If you couldn't pick Brock or McCaffrey, the runner-up, who would it be? Third place.
MVP on the offense.
Third place. It's a
Oh,
good offense.
Ayuk.
I agree.
You
He's just
agree?
he's taken his game to another level this year, Dad.
Yeah, we ought to do a list of all the cliches that we could
Cliches.
say.
Took it
Cliches,
to
yeah.
another level.
Took it to another level.
Yeah,
He is a potentially great wide receiver. He may even
I
be a
agree.
great wide receiver now. He's fast. He runs great routes, and he's courageous. He's not scared to go over the middle. We know some very famous wide receivers who didn't like to go over the middle,
And he's
and
not a diva.
not a diva. No,
Not a
he doesn't.
diva.
He doesn't look for publicity.
Uh-uh.
My impression is he's actually kind of quiet.
Yeah. I think he's the best wide receiver the Niners have had in a very, 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 very long time. Like even Terrell Owens, that guy dropped so many passes. He was a
Yeah.
complete diva. He was not a team player. He's better than Michael Crabtree ever was. I think he's better than Bolden was. I think he's better than Debo. Debo is great with the ball in his hands, the best. But when he doesn't have the ball in his hands, as JT O'Sullivan has pointed out, he doesn't always block hard, run hard. Ayuk does. Ayuk's a great blocker. Everything about him is top notch. I'd have to give Ayuk might be their best wide receiver since Jerry Rice.
Wow. I'm not
I,
arguing.
I'm lower on T.O. than most people. I feel like a lot of people, like history kind of glossed over what he did to teams. And there's a reason why he was on so many teams in his prime.
Yeah. You have to understand, I covered him. I
What do you think
covered
of
T.O. I thought he was a virus on the team.
Yeah.
He went after Jeff Garcia publicly. He would
So
get
many
up on
times.
the podium after the game and go after Garcia. He wanted Rattray to be the quarterback, and I don't know how the coach Dennis Rattay, whatever his name was, Rat.
The Hall of Fame, Tim Rattay.
The Hall of Fame, Tim Rattay, and Dennis Erickson, who I like, allowed that to happen. So I thought he was if I were on the committee voting for the Hall of Fame, I would never have voted for Terrell Owens because of the danger he was on a team and how bad he was. That's how I feel.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Ethan M says Brock leads in so many quarterback stats, it feels surreal.
It does.
It does. And I think it's important to remember he probably wouldn't on every team. So it's tough to gauge on this offense, how much is it him? How much is it Kyle? How much is it the supporting cast? It's all of them. They're all doing a great job right now. All of them.
Right. And what's more, that's how a team should be.
Yeah.
It should be all of us.
Yeah. We were down on Kyle for a very long time. And again, we're going to get to the test for him, but he's doing a great job this year.
I want to say about Kyle, it's only 5 games. It's the best coaching that I've ever seen him do. And it's among the best coaching jobs I've seen in the league, with the proviso that it's only 5 games. And we're going to come to that later. But so far, I want to say, so far, when I watch these games, the Niners are a pleasure to watch. They are a pleasure to watch at how they're executing and how clever they are. And his play calls are a pleasure. And I also want to say, Wilkes, his play calling is a pleasure too. He's doing a hell of a job as a defensive coordinator.
Yes, he is. He's doing a great job. Shout out Steve Wilkes. Nicole says, I always look forward to watching this every week. Papa Cohn reminds me so much of my late father, who I lost too soon to cancer. Hug him every day, Grant.
I'm sorry about your dad.
I'll hug you today.
He did.
I'm sorry.
He'll hug me today.
I'm sorry, Nicole. KOSZG says, did it look like Kyle may have copied the design of the flea flicker that the Lions ran earlier on Sunday? I did notice that. It was the same exact play. Do you think it's possible? Well, I'm sure they have it. They both have it. I mean, it was in the playbook.
Hey, look, God love him. My attitude is you should copy from the best people. You get credit for
I agree. But do you think it really works that Kyle could be watching First of all, is he watching the 10 o'clock game? Did he see the Lions game? Did he watch it and be like, oh, I like that play. Let me draw it up and install it right now and call it in this game. Like they probably had it the same exact play. Yeah, I would imagine.
They probably had it in there. I could tell you something funny. Players don't like coaches and assistant coaches don't like coordinators to make up plays the morning of a game because you won't have any chance to practice them. You just make it up. And you couldn't do it on the field. Well, when George Seifert was a defensive coordinator before he became the Niners head coach, he was such a maniac. He was making up new plays the morning of the game. Let's say the game was won. He's making up plays at 10 in the morning. So what the other defensive coaches would do, they'd hide in the bathroom, they'd hide in a closet, they'd go out on the field, they'd go anywhere where George couldn't buttonhole him so that he wouldn't be able to install new plays that no one had run. And I know that for a fact.
That is remarkable. That is remarkable.
Yeah.
That's really, they just knew their coach. Ethan M says QB. Yeah, they knew. I'm not going to stick around. If I just avoid him, it won't be a problem. He's nervous.
Right.
I don't want him to pass his nervousness off to me. You be nervous. You're making me nervous. Ethan M says QB is about efficiency, not flashiness. And who's more efficient than Brock? He's a top MVP candidate. What winning quarterback didn't have a supporting cast? True. I think it's just, I mean, it was the same question with Joe Montana. I mean, I wasn't alive, but I think a lot of people at the time felt like, would he be as good in another system or is he perfect for the West Coast offense?
Well,
I mean, like the Raiders didn't want him.
No, he wouldn't have been good in the Raiders offense, but for what Bill organized around him, he was perhaps the greatest quarterback who ever lived.
Right. And maybe Brock Purdy will be like that for Kyle Shanahan. Like, I don't think he'd be good for what the Eagles try to do on offense. Jalen Hurts is perfect for what the Eagles want to do on offense, but for what the Niners want to do, Purdy's perfect.